All right. Thank you, everyone, for having us today, and good afternoon on a Friday afternoon. We are very excited to talk to you today here. My name is Sina. I'm leading Microsoft's customer success team for business applications in Germany. And my team's focus is to support and guide our customers to a high adoption, and with that, high return on investment in CRM, ERP, and also Power Platform. Power Platform is one of my favorite topics. That's why I'm thrilled to see this community coming together in this awesome event today. My job allows me to work with and learn from the most skillful people in Power Platform, like you are all gathered here today. And I'm happy to be here with Phil Topness. Phil, I hand it over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Sina. And Sina says she loves Power Platform, but notice only one of us is wearing a Power Platform t-shirt. I just wanted to point that out at the start. So my name is Phil Topness. I'm on a team called PowerCat. We're the customer advisory team for Power Platform. So we're part of the engineering team, the team that actually builds the platform, and we work with the top about 1 to 2% of customers around the world. And so we make sure those customers have access to the latest technology and to learn from them and make the platform better, and then to share that through stories and documents and tools. So we're kind of the technical counterpart to what Sina's team does. And we work really closely with Sina and her team.
Super. Yeah, let's dive in. We want to tell you a story today about democratizing transformation. Democracy is such a strong word and characterized by the participation of the many. Democratizing transformation is an ambition that is very close to Phil's and my hearts, and we truly believe that we, as innovation drivers and organizations, can do better here. Data and experience shows that as soon as organizations realize participation of the many, exponential growth and business value can be unlocked. We wish that you leave this presentation today with the dream of driving the democracy of transformation in your organizations even more, and also with 2 or 3 concrete ideas that will help you and your organizations to accelerate. This is a quite shocking statement. Are you aware that knowledge workers are wasting 700 hours of their time at work every year on repetitive tasks that could be automated? And I'm not talking about automated with technology of tomorrow or through ChatGPT. I'm talking about technology that is available to us today and almost already a commodity, such as low code. Now, think about these 700 hours a year and let that amount of time sink with you. We often like to say that time is one of our most valuable resources. Well, 700 hours of work time a year equals to almost 2 hours worth of time every single day of the year. Imagine, this is as valuable as having 2 extra hours every day for playing with your kids, having a long, delicious dinner with your families, or finally going to the gym and working out. Now, let's take that value from an individual level more to an organizational level. For organizations, these 700 hours of time directly translate into bottom line profits when dedicated to value creating activities instead of repetitive value neutral tasks. I want to say it's fair to say that we are facing a waste of value here that needs to draw attention. And it is in the power of this community around Power Platform to raise awareness for this opportunity for change within our organizations. The fact, though, of wasting time is only one motivator of the more innovative leaders out there to change the way of transforming. Data is showing that democratizing transformation is demanded by all talents, by all of us that are hired by organizations. In times of talent scarcity, it is business critical to attract and retain the best talent. We know that 84% of the workforce would be more willing to work for a company that is invested in teaching them technical skills. 84%, that is not the fraction of people in traditional IT functions, that is the vast majority of employees. So having a strong technical skilling program in place is the differentiator for talents today. In addition to the 84%, 64% of people are more doubtful of their future with a company that wouldn't invest in technical upskilling. In other words, to retain our top talent, not only the learning program for upskilling is an absolute must, but as well a culture of dedication to technical upskilling. And with that, the opportunity to actively contribute the newly generated skills to optimize business. So I guess what we see is two things here. Bottom line profit opportunity, the waste of time, and a differentiator for top talent. And both are super valuable arguments to dedicate attention and resources to transformation. It sounds quite simple. And we would think that this is so obvious that leaders around the world are executing with excellence already. Now let us take a closer look on the status quo today. On the right-hand side of the slide, you can see a graph showing the global investments in digital transformation technologies and services worldwide from 2017. It's a quite steep curve. The global investments of companies has more than doubled within the last 6 years in digitization and transformation technologies. While in 2017, we saw a global spend of $1 trillion, huge amount of money. I cannot even imagine how much money that is. This is expected to double to more than 2 trillion this year. And $2 trillion, that is more than the GDP of most countries in the world. So huge amount of investments. Despite the continuously increasing investments that indicate that this must be a super attractive area for money, CEOs keep reporting that the returns on the investments are not fully meeting expectations. What is the underlying challenge here? Again, we are coming back to the theme of democratization. Until today, we haven't been able to systematically solve the silent reality of business and IT. And Microsoft is working with many companies and doing also a lot of research. And part of that research is about tech intensity. That research unpacks how organizations can influence and build what we call tech intensity. What is that exactly? Intensive margin in economics is indicating how much a resource is utilized, and tech intensity builds on that concept and refers to the extent to which employees put technology to use to drive digital innovation and achieve business outcomes. Our research found that companies that make good investments in technology and made tools accessible to a broad community of tech-skilled employees achieved higher tech intensity and also superior performance. And that is where this grabs the attention of economists and also CEOs and CFOs specifically, because the data is even showing a clear causality. Greater tech intensity powers higher revenue growth. To get there, there is hope, and there are trailblazers in the market that have started to make this a priority for their organizations. And there's also talent like yourself gathered here that is helping organizations to get there. We have a huge opportunity to learn from that from those trailblazers. And what I brought for us today is the story of Novartis. Let's take a look how they went about democratizing transformation in their organization. Novartis is one of the world's leading pharmaceutical companies. And over the past decade, Novartis has invested heavily in digital transformation. They moved their technology infrastructure to the cloud, started to build machine learning models, and deployed them throughout the business. But even as technical teams started growing, managers from across the business were not embracing the newly available information. At the same time, the data scientists had little visibility to the business and also no visibility into the most pressing challenges that needed to be solved for the business. As a result, the investments that were taken stayed behind expectations on return on investment. Now, this story could have stopped here for Novartis, and also the investments could have stopped. But luckily, the leadership realized the untapped potential of the Microsoft Power Platform. And they started pairing IT professionals with business experts. This combination of expertise was the secret recipe to get the right insights into the key improvement the business needed. Novartis also invested in training frontline business employees to use data themselves to drive innovation. The intensity and the impact of transformation accelerated rapidly at Novartis, driving innovation initiatives across the line and finally also meeting the expected return on investments in technology and also in the skilling programs. Besides pairing talent, which is one aspect, the Novartis leadership team has also decided to aim for a systemic change on how to enable the organization to accelerate transformation. A cultural change of that magnitude needed a strong vision to inspire everyone and to invite everyone to participate. We know for a fact that a vision that your people understand and relate to is the strong foundation to reach new summits and unlock potential. And Phil himself has been working with many best business executives, creating and following different visions, and learned a lot while doing so about the importance of creating and communicating a compelling vision to drive success. Phil, I know you prepared some learnings for us, so thank you for sharing those learnings with us today.
Thanks, Sina. And those stats really got to me. I mean, 700 hours a year, right? 2 hours a day. What would I do with 2 hours a day? I think honestly, I'd probably waste it, but I would really enjoy wasting 2 hours a day. So I guess the question to all of us, right, is, trailblazers like Novartis, what is the key to success that they had? And what if we could let you into that secret? I mentioned earlier, right, I'm the technical counterpart to Sina, so you probably think I'm going to come in here with managed environments or something like that. That's not the secret, actually, that we're coming in here with. There's no one formula for successful democratization like Sina described. But for those companies like Novartis and so many others that succeed, there's one key difference that we see over and over again. So we're not going to talk about the dials and the buttons on the Power Platform admin centers and environments and things like that. Sina and I have found that a leader with a clear and inspiring vision is what separates our most successful customers from everybody else. But leading change is so much harder than leading technology. So we wanted to talk today about each of your role as a leader in your organization, but not as a technology leader. I mean, you are a technology leader. That's why you're attending this event. That's why you're spending your Friday afternoon talking about Power Platform. But let's talk about your role in setting a vision for change at your organization. Now, it starts with a vision, and writing a vision for that change can be difficult and can take a lot of forms. Here I have it in limerick form. But ultimately, that's a vision you need to craft yourself with your knowledge of your organization and its people. Unlike this one that I cheated and I had ChatGPT generated. But I have to say it did an all right job. If only it were that simple for you to create and communicate an inspiring vision for your organization, but it's not. This is Microsoft's vision to continue leading the low-code transformation further to the next billion users, right? Power Platform is the industry leader with millions of people using it every month. Billions of people around the world need automation. They're smart, and they're finding ways to automate today, but they need better tools. And so we are investing in a power platform that is not just better for tomorrow, but for the multi-billion user platform that will change the way the world works. So that's our vision. Now let's talk about your role in your organization as a change leader. And I'm not going to lie, being a technology and a change leader is very challenging. Change leaders like you make something out of nothing. With your words and your actions and your vision, you will impact millions of euro, thousands of careers. And that's why we can say Power Platform will reach 1 billion users. But the truth is, without a map to get there, this future scares most people. Remember, you are leading them not to the mountain that you're standing on now, but to that one off in the distance. It's not a point-to-point journey. And for those that you are traveling with, it's probably scary. But also, you can't do it alone. You can only do it with encouragement, with guidance, and taking the time to celebrate success. So you can think of yourself as the narrator for your organization's Power Platform story. Your words matter. You are helping your organization interpret the events that are going to happen along this journey. And your experience with the platform gives you a unique vantage point for where you're going. Right? You've experienced it. You've heard it communicated from Microsoft stories, from tools, and from the experience that you have gained hands-on, seeing people use the platform. The rest of your organization doesn't have that experience. Imagine yourself in a coworker's place. It's normal for leaders like you to assume the vision is obvious. The goal is universal. How could anyone see Power Platform and not just want to dive right into it? That's not always the case. There's a study of 427 leaders and their teams, and it looked at the gap between what leaders thought of their abilities and what their teams saw. Of all of these attributes on the screen, there were two that stood out that had the largest gap between what the leaders believed of their own capability and what their team saw. Vision and empowering. These leaders thought they were quite good at this, and their teams disagreed. This doesn't just feel hard. This is hard. And that's why your ability to communicate the vision and celebrate each stage of the journey is so important. It will feel like you have shared the vision 100 times or 1,000 times. You will get tired of telling others of the vision for Power Platform at your organization. This picture here is actually of my daughter, Emily. Like a lot of us, I like to talk about my job, Power Platform. I'm wearing the shirt. And my family gets to endure this endlessly. So as you might imagine, Power Platform comes up a lot around the dinner table. And when Emily got her first real job, an internship with a consulting company, she also first got exposed to Microsoft 365 and Excel and Outlook and PowerPoint. So one day at the dinner table, I'm wearing this shirt, and Emily says, Dad, have you ever heard of Microsoft Automate? And I'm like, well, this isn't happening. I mean, certainly my daughter listens to me, right? I'm like, all right, I'm going to ask. Emily, do you mean Power Automate? She's like, yes, that's it. I'm like, yeah, Emily, I've heard of Power Automate. Right? No matter how many times you have shared your vision, I promise they don't understand it as well as you hope they do. And this is the worst part. Some people will hear your plan and they will decide they like the world the way it is today. Some will even try to actively undermine your vision. This is normal, right? This is expected. And I will admit to you guys, when encountering these people, I have caught myself thinking, we don't need those folks on our journey. Or who are these people that couldn't be on a board with a world automated by Power Platform? Or they just need to get it. I met with the vice president at the beginning of his journey. They had over 100,000, well over 100,000 seats of Power Platform. He was a vice president at a retail organization whose name you will recognize and I will not share. And I said, okay, so you just invested heavily in Power Platform. You're going to use it for your developers. How are you going to bring them along on the journey? And he said, I've made the decision. They just need to get on board. That is not an inspiring change vision, right? That's what we're here to avoid. So it helps if you put yourself in your team's shoes. Imagine your manager comes to you and says, forget Power Platform and all the time you spent at that conference. Your manager says they have found the way forward for democratizing transformation, and they want you to lead the transformation with this new technology. Take a step back, let it soak in. If you were looking at your manager as they were pitching you on this technology, how eagerly are you signing up for this person's vision for transformation? Now think back to the people in your organization who are listening to your vision. From their perspectives, how does this change threaten their way of working? Or how they're recognized, or their established routines? How does the change affect their reputation or their expertise? So let that feeling sink in and consider that as you're building the vision that you need to set forward for your organization to achieve the results that Sina described. And a way to think about the vision is in these three chunks. What is, where we are right now. What could be the better reality that will come from following the vision that you've set? And your goal is to create tension between what is and what could be so that they will want to follow you to that journey. And then finally, new bliss. New bliss is a vision of the future that is distant from where we are right now and that they will want to help make true. And you actually saw an example of this earlier when we talked about Power Platform's vision for transforming the world. So take just a minute to consider your organization. What does democratizing transformation mean for you? And who do you need along that journey with you? And what is the new bliss that they need to see through your eyes to be willing to step beside you? And I'll say it again. This is not easy, right? You hear from Microsoft stories of those that have succeeded and are an inspiration to us all. We don't tell you about the false starts. We don't tell you about the battle scars. We don't tell you about the sleepless nights before launch. Those are part of the journey. So we realize the role that we're talking about is a challenging one. Being a technology leader is hard enough to keep up with this ever-changing platform. And I promise you, in the next month, there are more changes on the way, so hold on tight. Being a change leader requires a different set of skills that require you to kind of take a step back. But here you are both a technology and a change leader. You are the one that allows us to say we are going to reach 1 billion users. It's not a straight path, and even those that have succeeded will tell you their path changed along the way, but they wouldn't do anything differently. So along the way, take time to look back and celebrate your success. We are all here, not just those of us with Microsoft badges, but this community and everyone around you. We're here to cheer you on every step of the way, support you with the latest tools, and then Sina is going to show you one of those most important tools that you can lead with. Over to you, Sina.
Thank you, Phil. Well, with Phil's support, we can get to a vision with a new bliss. And there is also some tools that support us to pave the way to reach that vision. And you might ask yourself, wait a minute, how does the way to the next billion users actually look like? And how can I participate with my organization to accelerate that journey? As Phil said, ideally, we climb it together. And ideally, we lift each other up and learn from each other. That's part of the reason why we love Power Platform so much, because it's really creating communities in a collaborative spirit to learn from one another. On this slide, you can see the different maturity stages organizations typically go through when adopting Power Platform. And For those of you who are not familiar with this maturity model yet, I'm super happy to share the links and details afterwards. It's really worth to take a deeper look and to also assess for your own organization, where on this maturity ladder are we right now and what's needed to get to the next level. Over the past 5 years, Microsoft has gone through almost every stage of this journey. Years ago, we were just as siloed as most companies. As we connected data and strategically adopted Power Platform, we were able to deploy integrated solutions across the business. And today, Microsoft has more than 170,000 monthly active users on Power Apps. That is almost every person working for this company. And we also have more than 15,000 active applications, optimizing business operations day by day. And those 15,000 applications wouldn't have been possible without Power Platform and without the power of the community to create those applications in teams of business and IT expertise. We strongly believe that this is your moment, the moment for every single one of us in the Power community. Challenge yourself, challenge your organizations, and challenge the leaders you are working with on their democratization strategy. Point the attention of your leaders to the untapped opportunities you are spotting in your organizations. It is an imperative for all of us. Embrace transformation and work to sustain it. Articulate a clear vision and also a clear strategy that comes with it, and communicate it relentlessly. And finally, my favorite part, break free of tradition. Help to train and coach your employees and colleagues to understand the power of Power Platform and release the innovators within your workforce and within your organizations, your circle of friends, your family that feels shared. It is crystal clear to me. We need to attack those 700 hours of waste that we saw in the beginning for every single one of us. And we have to recognize the talent in our organization that is demanding change and participation. We want to close this session today with a voice from a talent who was not aware of the endless opportunities Power Platform offers. Her name is Jeannie. Jeannie is a great example of a talent that discovered low-code as her career catalyzer. Imagine to have many Jeannies in your organizations soon who partner with you on your business challenges and let you thrive as well as help you reduce waste and time and energy.
It's funny, I didn't really ever plan to go into or to stay with Power Platform when I started. Hi, I'm Ginny Brandon. I'm a Power Platform developer, and Power Apps has kind of revolutionized the way I think about code. I came out of school as a computer science major. I never took a web dev course in school. I hated web development. It was all machine learning and AI and the math and the algorithms. And of course, I get hired, and the first thing I'm asked to do is to make a Power Automate flow that's going to interact with the Project for Web API, and it's fun. I think it's really changed the way I look at that low-code concept. I hate to say it, but I didn't have the respect for it that it deserved. And I think that's really prevalent in the industry. Being involved with it, I think, has really just completely opened my mind to what I now believe is probably the future of development. Because as soon as you get that rush of, I know how to do this and I am competent here, that is addictive. And Power Apps is so good at making that accessible to people. As someone just getting into the industry, they've enabled me to do things that would have taken me years and years to get into if not for Power Platforms. So thank you.
The path to big systemic change is, at the end of the day, collective action, and that takes courage. At the same time, the opportunities for you all to drive impact have never been better than today. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.